Alright, y'all. So I just picked up some necessities from the depot or the bank of Orange, and yeah, I wanted to share a couple of thoughts. Um, it's early spring, and man, people are out. The tariffs, I would be honest, I haven't seen much of an impact on the things that I purchase or I come across. So I'd say the tariffs aren't really a thing, or maybe people are getting out ahead of it. Whether people are aware. Just saying where I'm at now. The thing about where I'm at in my situation right now, I remember when we were in the middle of that thing. Um, I didn't have much um, money to hold on. Income was kind of scarce, so I remember how hard it was to do projects, and how I would mentally walk back what I wanted all the time. So here I am, I'm trying to get my lawnmower back up and running, and can I afford to go get a new lawnmower? Yeah, and this is the time. They put them out. They have a say cheese. They're smiling at you. There's all different colors that are smiling at you, and I feel like at this point I deserve and I'm obligated to have um, a nice lawnmower. I could ignore. I am gonna ignore when I buy the lawnmower, and I'll probably get one within the next couple years. Um, I am going to ignore all of the promotion or the material that they say. I think you should go bigger rather than smaller. I think first time around, what was interesting is that I bought a entry level. According to what I understand now, my opinion, I bought an entry level um, JD mower, and that lawn tractor at the time was a big. I don't think I purchased anything that big that wasn't some sort of technology system, or it was a big purchase. And that, in the beginning, when I look back at the pictures, I think it worked out. So I think I've passed that level of, have I gotten the value out of it? I would say in the last couple of years, um it's been more of a pain. But one thing that I am trying to do, and I think is a good practice and good information to pass on, is that I do deserve a new lawnmower, but if I'm going to have the same habits that I had with the old lawnmower, why would I invest in something that's probably going to cost me two times of what I paid for the previous lawnmower just to do the same thing? So I'm at the phase where I have to learn my tool better. It's Most of the tools I've learned pretty well, and the lawnmower is not one of them. Taking care of small engines is not one of them. So this year, that's one of my goals. So instead of just using YouTube as a reference, I purchased a couple books, and I am vigorously trying to beat, and it's raining now, so I'm in trouble because the grass is next week is pretty much, the first cut could potentially be next week. So right now I'm pushing through, trying to get to that phase where I can do on my lawn, and have my lawn tractor up and ready for the season and maintained properly. And yeah, I mean, I don't come from any of that, so I have zero skills when it comes to maintaining an engine. And I've struggled with my vehicles. So since this is a recurring thing, I think it's necessary for me to invest the time so that I could get some return on my time investment and have the skill. And now I have choice. I have freedom to pick something expensive, or if I want to go the battery electric route, which is another it's another climb, or if I want to go to Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. And a lot of times you see things that you could just recover and bring back to life with a little TLC, and it's a great value play. So that's what the investment is. So going back to like walking around, because I don't get to go out to the stores that much, but being the feeling that I had when I went in the store, I had this list, I had everything I wanted to look at. There were some things on my list was just browse, just see a price. I do some solutioning while I'm in Home Depot itself, while I'm in the Bank of Orange itself. Not that I only go to the Bank of Orange, but I would say it's closer to where I'm at, so that's why I go there. So I found myself being overwhelmed with the status that I am in life, and coming out of especially with what's going on in the world, coming out of a feeling of where money was easier to let go. It was easier to, spend something if extra left. I think for the last year and a half, that's really been my story. And now things are changing where I'm getting back into the tightening up aspect with all facets of my life. If I order food or buy food, I'm making more conscious decisions. The problem is the last time around, I paralyzed my process, and now I'm happy that I have that lesson, because now I have to reflect back and say, well, how do you not paralyze your what you do or what you need to get accomplished? A lot of what I've struggled with on my land has been that paralysis, where I'll give you a huge win. My chicken coop, right? Beautiful build. We call it the Taj Mahal coop, partly because it was way overbuilt, not just for the amount of chickens I could potentially have, but for the amount of chickens that I even want. I do not want the amount of chickens that coop could potentially hold. So every time I open it up, I'm just seeing all this extra space. But as strong and as well built as that coop is, I would say we've spent less than $50. We may have spent maybe a little bit of framing wood. I want to say I had some of the plywood already around, so I didn't have like a cost that came out of pocket at that point. Paint was probably absolutely the largest cost. The siding on the coop was made from old cedar fencing that I had, that I shiplap. I shiplap all the siding. And the reason why I did it was because, one, I don't like throwing stuff out. I love to upcycle. But the reason why I did it was because I was broke. I was not willing to spend the money, or just not be without the money. So I was always I wanted the chickens, but how do I get this done? Well, when I was just in this store just now, or in the bank, I felt the same way. I think the next step for me, because I have like a jumper, I'm having a problem with the lawnmower battery. Obviously the battery is probably on its end of life since I've left the lawnmower outside. So my next step is, because it's kind of stuck where it's at, I don't want to pump up the wheels, which also have issues. I don't want to pump up the wheels and move this thing all around the house to get back and then jump it in the car. That's a bad plan, where if I really think it's the battery, because I checked a bunch of other things, why not just buy a battery? And if that battery, if I can't return it or whatever, I have an extra battery to do some of the solar stuff with in the future. So it's really a good investment. So I go in there, I vaguely knew how much batteries cost. I see a $65 battery. I was at another a further bank because I had to drop something off earlier, and I had this one thing in my cart, but that bank didn't have the wood that I wanted, or the wood didn't look good. That happened. So then I went to the other bank. So not just the wood. I'm purchasing a framing nailer, and big purchase, right? For me, this is that first time where I'm crossing a certain plateau of money, and to buy these strong tools that need to last, that I need to upkeep. And I've done pretty well with tools in general. So what was I saying? So I came to this bank, and the batteries, and I didn't bring enough information about what battery to buy. That's not my wheelhouse. I didn't look at the battery that's in the lawnmower. I don't want to do the back and forth trips today. This was like, get out the house early before everyone's awake. So I put a lot of barriers, in my way. And I'm not stressing it, whatever. But when I was at the other Home Depot, the only thing I had in my cart was a battery. The battery, I thought I looked up and had enough information about it right while I was there to say, this is the battery that I need to purchase. The price was about $65. That's the cost, that I need to get past to that next step. So because they didn't have the wood, I said, you know what? The other one will have a wood, and they'll have enough of the framing nailers that I could browse. So I put the battery back. When I came to this Home Depot, to this Bank of Orange, they didn't have their battery rack didn't look the same. So I'm struggling between the one bank that I think is nicer and has more materials didn't have the right wood, which was most important for me today. And then this one, and also I couldn't find, or I didn't like how everything was set up when it came to browsing for the nailers. Then I come back to the one that I go to more commonly, and their battery rack looked old. And I see, just like I'm buying bread, I see the dates that the batteries were placed there, and I don't want to have a problem. So I see everything said July 2024, and it just didn't look maintained at all. So now I'm not going to get the battery. So obviously I'll scrap the plan. But what I'm saying is that because I'm holding on and getting tighter with the money, I'm not willing to just, it doesn't matter if it's $10, $20. I'm not willing to just like, oh, it's all good, let me just throw it out there, right? So what that leaves you with is a situation where you have to be very crafty. That's where a lot of the ingenuity comes from, a lot of the ideas that I create. And I actually did have some cool ideas while I was in the bank. But yeah, I just think I'm just sharing with you guys. I don't know if there's an absolute point here that I'm trying to bring across, or tips or whatever. I'm more so highlighting that I've gone through not having and being super tight, and then in the middle, I'm a little, things, I don't know where I'm at, I'm not really assessing. And then I've been on the other side where I'm good, and things are just fluid, and I'm not worried about, counting. And they've all had an impact on how I've been able to move about on the land and get the progress that I need. So I'm just trying to use those lessons so that I don't make the mistake I did to kind of shut everything down and become paralyzed just because I didn't have, I have to create a better plan. I mean, one of the things I think about is I'm always giving out free eggs, right? And yeah, you probably should, because of your investment, you probably should be getting some sort of a return. I was comfortable with my return when money is not an issue, whether it's the investment into feed. I'm comfortable with the return being my surplus of eggs and chickens to be on the land, whether it's social reasons or compost. I was comfortable with that investment, but that is one area where I got to go ask the chickens and say, hey, You know, do you guys think that we could rev this up where we could really make this a thing and get some money back? And then maybe I'm not out here being so tight or not, or thinking that something can't happen, or putting it so far in the future that I'm not going to take a step towards it. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Probably a little bit longer talk than I wanted it to be, but it's a genuine conversation that I wish there was somebody in the other seat that I could have and work through. But that's another part of, like, for me, I feel like I'm in a community where people aren't really having the conversation to break down their lifestyle in a different way. Most everyone, I'm living a different lifestyle than a lot of the people around me. So that balance is somewhat of a struggle. So that's all I gotta say. I'm in a parking lot. That's why I'm looking left and right, and then there's a car right here that is getting jumped. So I'm gonna make my way home. It's raining, so I'm not sure if I'm even gonna be able to do these projects, but I am gonna identify which lawnmower battery I need and figure out my next steps there. So as usual, I'm Darnell just talking. I would love to get my alternate channel, which was the channel that I was putting a lot of this agriculture, or any, whatever you call it, homesteading based stuff on, breaking ground. But this is what we about to do. So I just need enough people to know that I'm not speaking to I'm not just screaming at a lake, which I do often as well. I'm not just screaming out there and not getting an echo back. That's just my own echo. I don't want to just get my own echo back. So subscribe, follow, share. Tell me you don't like what I'm saying. At least I know that I'm not in a room or in a zone or in a city or town by myself. As usual, peace.